I have to be honest with you, I try to avoid Berlin as much as possible. On my way to the airport, every cell in my body was protesting against this flight because I thought that this city would be a disaster. But as soon as I arrived, my bad feeling took a 180 turn very quickly. And surprisingly, I found Berlin a pretty cool place to stay. And in today's video, I'm going to give you all the reasons that changed my mind. The biggest misconception about Berlin, that it's ugly. I genuinely don't understand why people say this, and it's completely false. This city has probably the nicest landmarks I've seen in a really long time, and walking around Berlin's downtown is an absolute blast. In fact, I liked Berlin so much that I decided it was time to learn how to film these very cool hyperlapse videos that I've never ever done before, and I don't remember the last time I had this much fun filming. The sequence you're watching right now was built from 3000 individual pictures that took me 3 full afternoons to grab. And even after visiting the most famous touristy spots like Alexander's Platz with the Rathaus, the TV Tower and St. Mary's Church, I still bumped into 20 other places that dropped my jaw. My personal favorite was hands down the Brandenburg gate, where the sunsets are super pretty. But there's also the Reichstag, which is yet another building with rich historic background. Plus there was also the Victory Column, the Word Clock and Checkpoint Charlie, just to mention a few. And since I'm a person who's interested in war relics, I literally found something to film on every corner. By the way, coming to Germany was a huge shift for me, as I just spent a full year in South America. And many places I've been to did not even have running water. So after climbing snowy mountains and surviving in deserts, Berlin feels like a completely different universe. My very first experience with Germans is that they can get angry for all sorts of weird reasons, so you never know when you're just about to push their buttons. For example, when I checked in at my hotel, they told me that here is my card, the elevator would take me to my room, but they also suggested using the stairs, and I was like, no thanks, I'll just stick with the elevator. And they were like, mein Gott, nobody said this before. And because I didn't want to take the stairs, they started acting like I just insulted their entire family tree, which was just so random. But this situation was more on the funny side. My only real gripe with Germans in general is kinda political, as they don't just simply drink the liberal Kool-Aid, but they inject delusion right into their veins. For me it's crazy that they don't use their own black, red, yellow German flag anymore. And all the buildings either have pride flags, Ukraine flags, Israeli flags, or some combination of these three. Which is okay, I guess. They are free to support any agenda they like. It's just weird that they do it by completely discarding their very own national identity, and young Germans still openly shame themselves for things that happened long before they were even born. Some of my ancestry comes from Germany, which I'm really proud of, and it's just weird that in Berlin people don't share the same enthusiasm toward our common origins. But at the same time, they have this fake, artificial tolerance for every other cultural group that got pushed into their society through migration. Probably this is the reason why kebab could become the #1 national dish, and before you would think that now I'm mocking the Germans, they were the ones who pointed me toward this Turkish restaurant when I asked them what food I should try. Immigrants in Berlin are surprisingly nice, by the way. And I definitely didn't expect such a warm welcome, as I heard a lot of bad things in the news. The only aggression I experienced came from inborn Germans, mostly women, who were either on drugs or just simply had one too many beers. So Berlin is definitely not like London, where migrants walk around with kitchen knives, or Stockholm, where they have over 100 bombings in a year. In my opinion, this city is completely safe, and the #1 sign is that wherever I go, I see people leaving their bikes all over the streets. And such a thing in London would be simply impossible. And I must admit that before rolling this video, I had a clear dislike toward Germany, and even though I would still prefer staying in Poland or in the Czech Republic, I must say that Berlin is absolutely not a painful experience, and I'm happy I gave it a chance. Especially after staying a full year in South America. This place for me was a big improvement, and if you'd like to see how Germany stacks up against the country where I was living before this one, you should watch my previous video where I showcase the dark side of Peru. Thank you for sticking around all the way, and I'll see you in the next one.